Hello, ghost hunters. Do you ever have a ghost that is stingy with its evidence? Maybe you've gotten one piece of evidence, maybe even two, but you just can't seem to get it to give you a third? Stay tuned to find out how you can figure out what your ghost is even without all the evidence. If you've not had the chance to watch my video on how to get evidence, check it out here. For this video, we're more interested in the specific traits of ghosts that might help you figure out what you're dealing with instead of how to force that last piece or two of evidence. Before we get started into the ghost, I want to point out that when you enter a location, someone on your team should always bring the spirit box with them. More ghosts have spirit box as evidence than any other type, and if a ghost is going to give you trouble, it's better to get that spirit box in the location sooner than later. It's not the easiest at finding a ghost room, but if you're having trouble with that, you should check out my video here on how to find your ghost. The other two pieces of evidence you should be able to squeeze out of an unwilling ghost: freezing temperatures and fingerprints. Fingerprints is the least common evidence among the ghosts, so you can rule this out quickly by asking the ghost to turn on a light or open a door. And if they've done these things and there are no fingerprints, well, you can rule that out right away. Let's get into the ghosts. Every ghost is different, but they all have qualities that tend to be specific to them. And ghost behavior can vary drastically from amateur levels to professional levels, so keep this in mind when determining your ghost. I'll cover every ghost here, but I will say that some ghosts are harder to guess without the evidence than others. First up is the Jinn. Maybe you already know that the Jinn is faster than most ghosts, but the Jinn is only faster when the power is on. Because of this, the Jinn is less likely to flip the breaker. So late into your hunt, if you haven't narrowed down your ghost type yet and it can still be a Jinn, if the power is still on, it might be a Jinn. Next up is the Mare. The Mare is the opposite of the Jinn. It doesn't want you to have the power on because it's stronger in the dark. So if your ghost is turning off the power to your location early on or before you've turned on any lights, that may indicate that you're dealing with a Mare. Next up, the Demon. Now I know the journal says that the Demon doesn't lower your sanity if you use a Ouija board, but you only get a Ouija board in about 1 out of every 3 hunts. Less if you ask me. So you can't really rely on that as evidence of what kind of ghost you're dealing with. One trait I find common with the Demon is it likes to hunt early. And if you're not very far into your location and the ghost starts hunting you, and especially if it's relentless, you're probably dealing with a Demon. The Shade is a very shy ghost, so if you find your team in a location and the ghost just won't do anything at all for you, it's probably a Shade. The easiest way to test this is to anger your ghost, then leave just one person inside the location. Chances are, before you've managed to step out the front door, it will start hunting. Now keep in mind this can sometimes happen with ghosts that want to be alone. My least favorite ghost is the Revenant. Revenants are fast ghosts. You cannot outrun them. Even if you happen to have a decent head start, the ghost will likely catch up to you and kill you. Trust me, I've been there. Because of this, if you have a Revenant, you'll likely know without needing any further evidence, but chances are by the time you realize this, it's because either you or your teammate has died. If I know I have a Revenant as a ghost, I'll leave without getting any further evidence. Phantoms are annoying if you have to get a photo of the ghost. Why? Well, because they're camera shy. It's so hard to get a photo of a phantom because the second you take that photo, it will disappear. Keep in mind other ghosts will do this sometimes as well, but if the ghost does it every time it appears, it's likely a phantom. Also remember, we're talking about when the ghost appears and not when it's hunting. Lots of ghosts kind of flicker during a hunt, so you can't really narrow it down to a phantom from a ghost that's appearing while you take a photo during a hunt. It needs to be when the ghost is appearing to you. The Wraith can be narrowed down by the evidence it doesn't give. It is the only ghost that does not have footprints. And to be clear, this doesn't mean the salt. If you see the salt has been disturbed, it doesn't mean you have or don't have a certain type of ghost. All ghosts can disturb the salt, but if you use a UV light or a glow stick near the salt, all ghosts, except for the Wraith, can leave those glowy footprints. Just remember that sometimes those glowy footprints take a bit of time to show up, even if your ghost is making lots of footstep sounds. The Banshee is a unique ghost because it doesn't conform to the anyone will do type of hunting. The Banshee will choose one person as its victim, and it won't take anyone else in their place. It will hunt, but only the one person. This means you don't have to hide. You can literally stand out in the open and the Banshee won't harm you if you're not their target. So once you've narrowed down who the Banshee wants, that person can stay outside of the location while everyone else does the heavy lifting, safe from being hunted. You can test this out by having the person you think is the intended target enter the location. The moment they enter, the ghost will hunt. When they leave, the hunting will stop. Banshees don't adhere to the string theory. If you've not watched my video about the string theory, check it out here. I'm inclined to believe that those times that you're well hidden and the ghost somehow still manages to find you and kill you very well may be because it's a Banshee. The Yurei is easy to identify, but only once you've come back out to the van. If your sanity dips fast, your ghost may be a Yurei. Remember, lots of things lower your sanity, so try not to lower it until you need to. For example, scare events or looking at the ghost can lower your sanity. But if your entire team is having sanity issues quicker than normal, it may be because your ghost is a Yurei. The final 3 ghost types don't have traits that seem to make them stand out more than other ghosts. The spirit, for example, has been extremely violent and then also very passive with my own experiences. The Poltergeist and the Oni are very similar to each other, and thus it makes it harder to narrow down. Most ghost hunters assume that thrown or moving objects means you're dealing with either a Poltergeist or an Oni, but all ghost types can and do move or throw objects. Some locations just don't have a lot of items to be thrown, so using this to narrow down a ghost type can be very difficult. If you play a fair amount of contracts in Phasmophobia, you will of course come upon a ghost that you sometimes just can't get that third evidence. If you and your team decide to leave and guess at the ghost type, hopefully some of the traits I've shared will help you. The best advice I can give you is that over time, you'll get comfortable enough with the ghost to be able to guess what type you have before you finish gathering evidence. With experience, you'll be able to narrow down your ghost type regularly. If you've got your own ghost traits you'd like to share, leave them in the comments below. I love hearing from other ghost hunters about their own Phasmophobia experiences. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe. Happy hunting.